Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands. Welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Hobokin titled Breaking Down featuring Ethan Marc. And if we switch over to here, apparently this is the cinematic experience. So we're going to be watching that today on YouTube and we're going to listen through it from start till finish. I'm going to hear what we think. Let's go, let's do it. It is quite a cinematic experience.
The rebellion is coming.
No, this is well done.
I hear the screeching, can't stop thinking that it's taking me out. I hear my breathing, endless feeling, evaporating my sound. I feel so muted, I'm deluded, colors fade away now. And it's just breaking, feel it breaking, ooh, it's breaking me down. I hear the screeching, can't stop thinking that it's taking me out. I hear my breathing, endless feeling, evaporating my sound. I feel so muted, I'm deluded, colors fade away now. And it's just breaking, feel it breaking, ooh, it's breaking me down. And it's just breaking, breaking me down. The ground concaves me to my grave till there's just no digging out. And I'll just die atop this hill, silently screaming its sound. And I'm just searching for the answers, can you come save me now? Oh, it creeps up like it's deadlights on a long night. Oh, it
Solid vocal harmonies.
like a deer in headlights, even when there's foresight. I can't help thinking there's a reason, changing colors every season, but nothing stays the same except the poison in my brain. I fall collapse into depletion till nothing left but pieces. Lock me up for treason, I've been right here to station. Can't stop thinking that it's taking me out. I hear my breathing, endless feeling, evaporating my sound. I feel so muted, I'm deluded, colors fade away now. And it's just breaking, feel it breaking, ooh, it's breaking me down. Cause I fall into madness, and I fall out of balance, waiting on the same thing, but sometimes things change.
Constant movement with the positions of vocals, the frequency ranges, the ambient and instrumental parts around the mix.
I hear the screeching, can't stop thinking that it's taking me out. I hear my breathing, endless feeling, evaporating my sound. I feel so muted, I'm deluded.
Ah, new fortune cookie, nice.
Feel it breaking, ooh, it's breaking me down. And it's just breaking me down. Breaking me down. Breaking me down. Breaking me down.
Okay. I mean, it is great to see them having fun with this. The rebellion is coming. Cool. To be clear, I have reviewed Hobokin's work before, and I've typically had a pretty good time with it. They do have a flair for this kind of angle, trying to create an overall atmosphere that encapsulates everything, and it's usually quite extra. I've got nothing but love for this, though. I'm going to have a think about this track for a moment, and then we're going to talk about it more in the conclusion. And welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Hobokin, titled Breaking Down, featuring Ethan Marc, the cinematic experience. I was listening to the track, and I just want to, before I go any further, say that I really appreciated the effort put into the video. I didn't really comment on it too much in the initial sort of like listen through, because there was quite a lot to take in there, and I don't feel I've got like the whole nuance of it yet. But I can see, or at least understand in parts, how it relates to the story being told by the lyrics. I think the song is about someone who is struggling to figure out what's real and what's not. Like they're breaking down, like they're falling into madness, you know, doing whatever they can to change, but the one thing that remains consistent is the poison in their veins. And when I see, I suppose, they're sharing lunch together, or like food together, and then there's this, the rebellion is coming, and then the other person, they start fighting and everything, and people die. I suppose maybe they're friends of like Hobokin. I think Ethan Marc was the guy who was like the robot at the end, who was actually in prison and found out. I think story-wise it was really interesting, but it kind of revolves around sort of paranoia and not necessarily knowing what's real and what's not. I think that is an interesting concept. I have nothing but love for the effort put in to create that sort of story, that audiovisual experience that tries to really create, like, it's just so like, for an independent artist, it's really cool that they put that much effort in. It shows that they have a great passion as well as an attention to detail with their craft, and they know what is required in order to sort of captivate an audience and get them intrigued with what's happening next with the rebellion. I like that quite a lot. And I thought the video itself was quite well shot and well produced and edited. I think it was well handled. It's a song where the vocals, the hook line is repeated quite a bit. I don't mind that necessarily, because it's cut in ways where there are moments of silence within the actual track itself. So I have a feeling maybe the song itself is shorter. They might not have as many repeats of that hook line. Maybe it's iterations of the main messages about like the things keeping them down and the going into madness and everything like that. And to be fair, I think it's iterated in a falsetto by Ethan Marc later on, which was kind of really sweet in that interlude section. But you can hear Hobokin's vocals. They're clear throughout the verses and choruses. And granted, it's not the hook line the entire time. There are some slower sections where we kind of go a bit more sort of halftime, and we slow things down a little bit. And we do have some really interesting vocal harmonies, as well as like main sort of melodies there that are put in place. And there are changes of expression as well there. We're trying to make it catchy, whilst also to try and sort of do what we feel needs to be done in regards to making it authentic or a believable experience. And I feel like we do well fitting in the middle there. And we have both music vocalists in this have solid vocal technique, and they cover their head and chest voice well, and the falsetto is neat in that later stage as well. And ultimately, and there's a bit of vocal modulation going into that lower range, as well as some up parts there. There's also some vocal chops that I guess are going on inside the chorus sections, which are an up an octave from Hobokin's range. They're niche well because they are sort of separated like that. The track itself, I mean, like, it's a 5-minute long video. I'm not sure how long the normal song version is without the cinematic cuts, but I assume it's like a verse, chorus, kind of like, or maybe a chorus, verse interlude there with instrumental parts, to be fair. Moments of quietness occasionally, an interlude section a bit later on there. And it's instruments like basses and kicks, and there are some risers that are used to go into those hook sections, as well as some sort of reverse takes to kind of get you cleanly into those heavier parts. You also have these synth pads and synth leads as well, ones that suit the sort of I don't know how to describe it, like the samurai aesthetic there, the warfare kind of thing, the instruments that kind of sound like ones from that part of the world, but not too on the nose with it. It's just more, there are more contemporary elements there, sort of the trappish kind of fast sort of hi-hats or clicky ones with bass that's full body, kicks that are full bodied enough to kind of cut in the mix, snares that are short and precise and suit that late 2010s, early 20s sort of aesthetic for percussion. But also, and the bass is, there's 808s rolling with the root notes. The synth pads that we have there are very soft and almost hypnotic with how sweet they are. It's very kind of well-rounded with the triads there, and it's not too in your face or abrasive. There aren't any really harsh textures within this. If there are leads that are short and sweet, synth leads, they go from the sides of the stereo field there. There are also some sort of more ambient or cinematic sort of sounds, like kind of percussive, like doof, or whatever, sub drops or whatever, that are not necessarily for the music, but more to suit the sort of drama of the switching between parts of the track there. And I think that, it's also just the Foley in the track that went alongside, like the sounds of the dinners and people eating in that opening scene there, with the audio, the pads or the harmonies on that only on that left side, like you would have in like a restaurant where the audio wouldn't be perfectly put across the stereo field. It makes it sound more like an intro because it's not complete yet. You're put in a position where you're wondering why that is, which forces you to pay attention from the start, whilst also paying attention to the fact that eating in that restaurant, and then you get the fortune cookie, and then things kick off from there. But I think it's well-rounded. Any instruments that are there fit well within the frequency spectrum and niche nicely within the arrangement. The transitions between parts are seamless. The performance is quite tight without any filler. Again, I feel like if we're without the parts of the actual, like the film, like with the scene and then the chorus and then scene and the chorus, I feel like if we'd had like one chorus at the end, that's exactly what we needed, maybe like with like an additional lead on it. But I feel like ultimately there's dynamic range, things are not the same loudness all the time. There are parts where we slow down with the drums or have them absent and things sort of float there. You have more sort of chordy parts there that are pleasant to listen to. And ultimately, I think, it's the theme itself overall, it's minorish, but not too extreme with that. I think there is a nice balance between having the darkness that is spoken about within the lyrics, whilst also combining that with the fact that we're trying to make a more catchy, approachable track that's not too sort of down in the dumps about our environment. It's not trying to be too serious about it. It's sort of saying, look, I know we're in a crappy situation, but also here's a banger that you can nod your head along to and kind of groove along to. And I feel like, as with many things within this track, we managed to find the sweet spot for that in a way that is very effective. And I think, honestly, that's something that Hobokin does quite well. See, I think the theme was well handled there. We made music that suited the music video, but also it could be argued that music video sorted the music. I think that the audio suited the tone of what we were trying to accomplish, as well as meeting the needs for like a sort of a modern pop track. And I don't think there was a note out of place. But the studio recording, mixing and mastering was really well handled. I think it was fantastic, again, like how the mixture of the different Foley elements in the video, as well as the instruments and the vocals, were layered within the mix. That the vocal processing as well, with the different octaves and metadyne. Not metadyne, I mean like the tuning of it going up and down octaves, the modulation of the vocals. With things spread around the stereo field and the frequency spectrum, not in the same place there, stacked nicely without any weird resonances, which is good. I like the fact that things were not perfectly balanced in the stereo field as well. We had just the audio on the left for the audio at the start of the track as well, or for the music at the start of the track, which was really cool. The leveling in general was pretty good. There was dynamic range to this. Things were not the same loudness the whole time, and it was, while it was glued really neatly, it was nice and loud without pumping, so the bus compression and limiting was handled. I mean, effectively, this is just my review of this track from an act named Hobokin, titled Breaking Down, featuring Ethan Marc, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show him some love via the various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe. Please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as you need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.